Here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started. Share and give me some hearts, give me some likes so I can know what's going on, so I can know that I am doing a good job. But today we are bringing you a special guest. I did not need any information from this gentleman in order to introduce him. I have known him for over 11 years and have spent probably 11 plus years with him as well. So, a man who is a jack of all trades. He not only has this business he's going to talk about tonight, but he also has another business, and he's also a musician. He's a computer programmer, software developer. He writes code for Android, iPhones, different things like that. A law enforcement personnel. Hey, Zakia. Thanks for joining us. He had, like I said, he's a jack of all trades. I fell in love with this man years ago when he was telling a story, and then I heard him play and sing in church nonetheless. And so probably tell a story. Well, he tells everybody that I was supposed to be oohing and ahhing while I was in the choir, while I was leaning over to my girlfriend telling her how cute he was. But let me bring on no other than my husband, my best friend, Alex Little, the owner of Boaz Tactical. Hey,
hello.
Alex, you there?
Hello, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Are you ready?
I am. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Yeah. Hey, Corto. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Paula. Everyone for tuning in. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. You're the owner of Boaz Tactical. What exactly does your business do?
Well, we do concealed carry classes and handgun 1, handgun 2 classes for pretty much anybody who may need training. We do, active shooter classes as well. So if an organization, is trying to get some training in for their employees on, if they ever have an active shooter or anything, we do that, come out and teach them, show them videos, show them the best thing to do and so forth. So that's what we do.
Okay. So where did the name Boaz Tactical come from?
It actually came from the Bible. Boaz is a special person. If you look in the book of Ruth, you can learn a lot about Boaz. And so the name actually came from the Bible.
Okay, so what made you choose Boaz? So there's a lot of names in the book. The great book.
The great book. Well, it's one of the important names to me, and just the story of Boaz, the kind of person he was, the kind of person he strived to be. I just really liked using that name, and it kind of fit better than some of the other names that I was throwing around.
So what made you decide to start the business of this CCW and the other things that you offer?
Well, I love firearms. I love shooting. When I was younger, moons ago, I went to the police academy and couldn't really shoot that well. I could shoot all right, and the guy was yelling at me out there, Little, hit that thing, hit the X. And so I was like, man, I'm tired of this guy yelling at me. So I just went home and practiced and dry fired and practiced and came back and ended up tying for first place with 2 other guys, and just loved shooting ever since, and loved the tactical stuff and running around, things like that. And I always have loved to teach people whatever I may know. So putting the two together was kind of a no-brainer.
Okay. So you kind of touched on it a little bit. What type of training do you have in order to be able to teach these courses?
Well, besides regular law enforcement training, I'm a certified firearms instructor. So that's the main training to be able to teach others, not only how to shoot, but CCW for Missouri and teaching them the right thing. I'm really big on people learning the right information, learning the right things when it comes to shooting and, how to handle weapons, how to manipulate weapons correctly and safely. And those are big things for me. I'm a big advocate, for guns, but I want things to be done correctly and I want people to know how to do them correctly. And I find that there's so many people out here that don't. And that's when, things go bad.
Okay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I've been kind of hearing on the news. I don't get into it as much as you do, but I do know that there have been some gun law changes in Missouri. How does that affect the CCW class? And is it still worth getting a CCW?
Well, the gun laws have changed, basically shrunk the mandatory instruction. So you used to have 8 hours, and there was a shooting part of it, and they took the shooting part of it out. They made it down to like an hour or so. Technically, you can have it online if you want and just email people a certificate. But that hasn't affected my class as far as students or anything like that. I also don't change my curriculum that I teach because, again, it's very important for me to give the correct information to make sure people know what they're doing. And that's what I do. I didn't change anything. So it really hasn't affected my class much. There's a lot of people that ask me now, hey, why should I get a CCW? Just like you did. And to me, there's two big things. One is if you go out of state, you're going to need it. If you plan to carry, because one of the other things that changed in Missouri is that for certain places, you don't have to have a concealed carry permit to carry a firearm concealed in the state of Missouri. And I honestly believe that can be a very bad thing because, now you're going to get guys just grabbing guns and going. I mean, if they can buy a gun or they can find a gun, they're just going to get in and go. They might not have any training, they might not understand anything about guns or weapons or anything. So, they're going to do more damage than they're going to do good. And I mean, that's the big deal. If you're going to carry concealed, you need to be able to carry correctly. You need to be able to know the laws. You need to be able to know what you're doing. The two things, like I was saying, that I tell people all the time when they approach me with the new laws, I don't have to have a concealed carry permit anymore. Yeah, in Missouri you don't, but if you ever plan to travel outside of Missouri, anywhere else, you're going to have it, period. And the second thing is concealed carry permit class is the bare minimum information or knowledge that you need to have to just own a gun. Not even carry a gun, but like possess a gun in your house or wherever. So if you don't have that, you're in bad shape. You're in really bad shape. So those are the two reasons why I'm telling everybody, and you still need to know what you're doing.
I mean, it's a lot about safety because
it really is.
Knowing how to properly use it, but also in the conceal and carry class, you talk about how to properly store it as well. So that, I mean, safety for you as well as the people around you, your loved ones around you and everything.
Exactly.
Okay. So you mentioned that you're going to need a CCW as you travel out of state and different things like that. So what states, if you could tell the viewers, what states actually honor the Missouri CCW?
Well, there's a smaller group that don't honor it, so I figure I would just tell that.
Okay.
So here's the states that do not honor our CCW: California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Washington. As of right now, those are the ones that do not honor ours. And, that may change, considering that we have gone from being a state that had being a state that had more stricter gun laws and more stricter CCW laws to a state that you can pretty much just wake up and get a CCW permit.
Right.
That may change. There may be a lot more states that might not recognize ours because we have a written agreement with some of those states. So, that may change. Okay.
I'm laughing everybody out, and please excuse me. I was giggling. What he was saying was very important, but I have a viewer who's on, and he stated, how can I go live at the same time? He wants to be on my show. He's been working on his filter. Let me say, he has not been working on his filter. Just yesterday, he posted something that was very inappropriate. So he has not been working on his filter. And he probably will not be on the show unless I can have somebody bleep him in the meantime. Alex, you already know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So that enough with that. We like to have fun on this show. So back to the seriousness. Alex, when we're done with this broadcast, if you could put those states that do not honor the CCW in the comments so that the viewers can see it, that would really help, because I know they probably weren't able to write it down. Okay. So we like to keep this broadcast to under 30 minutes, and we're doing well on time, but I want you to give some tips to the businesses, something to share with others in terms of being able to start their business.
Well, if you're in Missouri, of course, you want to make sure you do wherever you are, you want to make sure that you do all the legal things, get incorporated or whatever entity you plan to be, research it, go to your state, get all that information, go to the federal government, get your, EIN number. Make sure you do all of that because you're going to need that for taxes. And taxes is like the number one reason why businesses shut down, because they don't pay them or they owe them, they don't pay the right amount, whatever it may be. So you want to make sure you get that squared away. And then depending on, what you're trying to do, you just got to push. You just got to push. If you have a dream, you have something that you've always wanted to do it. I mean, this is a great time because people are getting laid off. People are quitting their jobs, tired of their bosses, tired of the rat race. And, they want to get out and do something different and something that they're passionate about. So you just got to push and understand it. It's always not going to be great. It's not going to be wonderful all the time. Sometimes you're going to get out of bed and be like, I just don't feel like going down here and dealing with this, but I love it. So I got to go. I mean, there's days when my class starts at 8 a.m. and the place that I go teach it is about 40 minutes away. So that means that I'm up at 6, if not earlier.
Right.
So then that means that the night before, hopefully I wasn't out having fun and enjoying myself. If I was, I'm hurting today. So it's one of those things you just got to get up and keep pushing regardless. And, if it's your love, you'll do it. But you got to get the admin stuff taken care of because you'll need that down the road. And that's what shuts most businesses down.
Okay. Wonderful. As we wrap up, what do you want to leave the viewers with? Is there a favorite quote or anything like that you want to share?
Not really a favorite quote or anything, but I will say, as it pertains to conceal and carry, make sure that you know information, you know the laws, you know what you're doing. If you ever have any question, always try to seek out the answer. Don't just guess or think. There's so many people going to jail and prison right now because they thought it was one way and they were wrong. And the law doesn't care. Ignorance of the law is not a defense. So, make sure you know what you're supposed to know when it comes to guns, when it comes to carrying them and handling, manipulating them and things like that and protecting yourself. So that would be it.
I I want to touch on that just real quick because that is a important thing. A lot of people believe that once they get a CCW, a permit to carry, and they start carrying, that they do have the ability to shoot at any point in time, and they're not going to go to jail. Could you touch a little bit on AIM, access, intent, and means? I know that's something you talk about in your class, but what is AIM, access, intent, and means?
Well, if a person has access to you and they have the intent and the means to do you bodily harm, do you, physical harm, or your family or whatever, then you can be justified to use deadly force is what it is. There's basically two types of force when you come down to it, is deadly and non-deadly. And depending on the situation, you're authorized to do one or the other, maybe none. A perfect example of, you bringing that up is there's a gentleman in this state. I won't get into the city or anything, but he basically came outside and saw somebody stealing his car. And he decided to just shoot into the car. And the guy ended up dying, I guess, about a block away. And they're charging him. They're prosecuting him right now because you can't do that. If you see you're going to be pissed off. If you walk out your house and you see somebody stealing your car, you're going to be very upset. You're going to feel some kind of way about it. And you might want to go jump on them or do something. But the answer is not to pull out your gun and just start shooting in the car, because the law says you can't do that. And it's a perfect example of someone who probably didn't know the laws and thought he was justified in using deadly force to stop the guy from taking his car.
Right. This is, very important information because things like that are constantly happening, and a lot more in Missouri since they did change the law. So I would say no matter what state you're in, but especially if you're in Missouri, near the St. Louis, O'Fallon area, if you're anywhere near the St. Louis or O'Fallon area, you want to contact Boaz Tactical and get the class from him as well. So thank you so much, honey.
You're welcome.
Thank you on my show.
Thank you for having me. She was gonna try to make me wait to the end of the year or something like that, y'all, just to let you know. But I kind of bogarted my way in and said, you gotta get me on this show.
Right. So thank you for having me. I think the broadcast interrupted for some reason it's frozen. Not sure why. That sucks. But anyway, we're gonna wrap it up and put the links in the comments, ask any questions along the way. And thank you. And I'm sure I'll have you on again with your other business. Like I said, you are a jack of all trades. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much. You are very welcome.
Have a good evening out there. Have a blessed night.